very
Yeah.
savvy today with everything that they can find online, but nothing is going to replace
No.
somebody's local knowledge, somebody that is educated in septic
Yep.
systems and wells and all the contacts and the people that somebody that's educated in all the lakes and
Yep.
what,
What they mean. Yep.
and what they mean and what would
Yep.
be best fit for them. You can't replace that, in my opinion.
And so
Yeah.
let me start with, why don't you introduce yourself? I know you're from the great state of Michigan. You're one
Yes.
of these people that says, okay, I live up here.
You're right. Exactly. That's always, we're right about here. We're on that
Yeah,
little peninsula. Yeah.
that's right. And we all know
So,
about the border dispute between Ohio and Michigan in 1835. And they solved it because the bottom of the border goes like this, right?
mhm.
And they solved it. Ohio got Toledo and we got the Upper Peninsula.
There we go.
And you're near it.
Yeah, that's a whole other world up there. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
Okay, why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself and how you get in this business, and if you have any family that actually works with you?
I do. We're three generations.
Really?
So pretty
Wow.
cool. Yeah. So I'm Kimberly Bork and I am owner broker of venture properties. And it's pretty funny how I ended up here. Never thought I'd be in real estate
Yeah.
and so like you, my background is advertising, marketing, and graphic design. So that's what I am schooled in. That's what I went to college for. And I ran a ticker ad. I started my own business after working my dream job for 7 years as a marketing director for a logistics company. And they merged with their largest competitor. Long story short, they moved operations to New Jersey, and I wasn't going to New Jersey. So I started my
I
own
was in
marketing.
Manhattan, so New Jersey was bridge and tunnel people.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So I was like, no, nope. I love Traverse City. I'm raising my family here and I'm not moving anywhere. So I started up my own company again. And I've had multiple companies in the past, but moved up here, took a job. And anyway, met my broker through a digital ad that I ran on this daily publication that came out to anybody. It was a free pub to subscribe to called The Ticker, the TC Ticker, and met Perry Pentic, who was the founder of Venture Properties back in 1980. And he just was great. We hit it off, and I was his right hand for many years. So I started with him in 2013. In
Mhm.
2015, he said, "You've got to get your license. I really need some help. And I want you to be able to put in listings. I want to teach you the ropes, and I need you as an assistant." And I said, "Okay, fine." So got my license and started riding shotgun with him all over Leelanau County and Grand Traverse County, and got a real good feel for real estate and what was involved. And fortunately, he was in high-end luxury waterfront. So I was able to go to all these beautiful homes and meet all these wonderful people and learn the ropes from a veteran who had been in the business for, gosh, at the time, I think it was 36 years. And it was really interesting. And I fell in love with real estate. So I was his right hand for several years. And then he said, I think he already had this planned out. He was a really great salesman. He said, "I'm looking for an exit strategy. I'm going to retire in a couple of years. Would you be interested in getting your broker's license and purchasing the business?" And I said, "Oh my gosh, what an opportunity." So I did. And here we are 11 years later. So I have been broker owner since 2019. And then I had built out a large team. I had a team of 8 women who were former clients and friends of mine, and then decided that I wasn't doing what I loved anymore. I was managing instead of out there selling and being with people. So I made a shift in 2023, at the end of 23, went back to being a solo agent. And then my mother passed away, which was unexpected. And then my dad had a lot of free time and had always been involved in real estate. They used to flip homes. So he always wanted to get his license. So obviously I encouraged him to get his license, and he joined me in 2022. So He was in for the craziest time in real estate post COVID, and it
Yep.
was some really great years. So he joined me. And then my daughter, who has been a hairstylist for, gosh, almost 11 years, decided that she was done with hair, standing on her feet all day. She was exhausted, and she went and got her license in November. So she joined me, and we are now a 3-generation team. So it's a dream come true for me.
That's amazing. I started in 2004. Of course, my daughter, who was 7, would follow me around, and she said, "There's no way she's going to be in real estate." So,
That's what my daughter said too. She saw me like, whoa, and she said, I'm never doing that. But that's
well, yeah.
right.
So now she designs and publishes books and things like that. So we're both creative, and of course, my background is advertising marketing. I was in Manhattan within 48 hours of graduating Miami of Ohio, and was there for 16 years in Boston, and then I came to New Hampshire. Life change, and in Boston, I was paying $25,000, $2,500 a month, 25 years ago, 30 years ago.
Wow.
And I moved up to New Hampshire, and I found a waterfront for 140,000. So automatically my expenses dropped. Now I wasn't in real estate, still knew nothing about it, because it was clear I knew nothing about it, because I moved in January, and that's when I discovered what seasonal meant.
Yeah, there's that.
So New Hampshire has the same weather as Michigan, so it's the same.
Mm.
9 feet of snow and whatever. You're on
It
the
had 100 and I
lake
think
effect.
68 inches. Yeah. It was,
168 inches this year?
yeah. Yeah.
I was talking to another Michigan.
3
Yeah.
false springs. It's like maybe one of them will stick soon.
We had 3 inches of snow here 2 days ago.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
You have more
No.
than we do. We got hit with that previously, right? We had 3 feet of snow.
Yeah, no, you had more snow
2.5
because you had
weeks
the lake
ago.
effect. You had the lake.
What was it called? The bomb cyclone or cyclone bomb or something like that. I don't know what they were calling it, but yeah, it was a lot of snow, and it was disappointing, of course.
So they don't call anything a hurricane or a tornado. They just call it a super something. They don't want to
Superstorm or
superstorm. Yeah. So they don't want to. Nobody here wants to admit that there have been tornadoes, but
yeah.
So you followed a path that took you back to your family to be with you, which is great. I give you a lot of credit.
Thank you.
You
No,
know?
it's fun. We're having a good time, and
Yep.
I'm not. To be honest, my dad doesn't really sell a whole lot. He's pretty much retired, but he's there. He's engaged. He likes to help out and be my assistant from time to time. So it's nice. And my daughter is now my transaction coordinator. So I'm just living large over here. Good time.
Well, that's good. So my wife,
She's learning, right? So that's how I learned. That's how I learned.
Yeah, it's a child. So my wife started. She helped me out a lot because she's Thai, which is why she's a Thai restaurant.
Oh,
we know every
fun.
Thai
I love
person.
it.
We know every Thai person in the entire state. I've cornered the Thai real estate market, which is not always easy.
No.
And she decided to get her hair. She's beauty school at the age of 40. So it's like,
okay.
Now she's a top student. She graduates next week. And
awesome.
then we took over the restaurant. So now we have the restaurant, real estate, and hair.
Wow.
In essence, I got a free haircut for 10 years. Then I paid whatever. Then I paid 20. I don't have that much. So I paid tuition, 25, whatever it is. And now I get a free haircut plus tips.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. I love it.
I think I can write off both, except
I think you can.
there's not much to write off. Actually, I just renewed my license. And last time I renewed my driver's license, they, without my permission, changed my hair color to gray. Isn't that just rude? I know. So when I went to the DMV, I said, "You changed my hair color to gray without my permission." And so they looked up and says, "I think you're blonde."
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So now I'm blonde.
Call me the silver fox or something.
Whatever, because I started as redhead. Red hair it changes the way it goes. That was my phone in the background. So it's fun. And for me, you probably had criteria of what you wanted to do. Because you have a graphic design background, you can use both sides of your brain, right?
Which is a blessing and a curse, actually. Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So people expect the 32-page brochures I do. But then again, I do things that nobody else can do.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
It's such a double-edged sword. Like I'd love to be able to hand that stuff off.
Yeah.
I just can't. I can't do it.
Yeah. Because you know it better than.
I just know too much. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. I know how to do it. I know what I want. If by the time I
Yeah.
communicate what I want, I tried.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
did try. Didn't
That's
work.
good.
So,
Having been an
yeah.
advertiser, because I worked with Jerry Delafina primarily, and a lot of him is a subject line for Mad Men. So I had unbelievable.
Oh,
And I was one of the
how
first art
fun.
directors who used digital photography. I was the first one to have a Mac. I bought a Mac in 1987 for $10,000. I was only making
I
16.
was
And
there. Did it.
yeah,
2FX. Apple
yep, that's what
2FX.
I got. Yep.
Sold my car to get it. Yeah. Oh yeah.
I sold my soul, but that's okay. But then when the
I didn't sell my soul, just my car. That's amazing.
but
I
people
love
don't
it. So
realize
we have a
now in
lot.
this
Yeah, we have a lot of in common. Yeah. It's
yeah,
great.
and but in this business, I started at a company and I designed a brochure for everybody in the company, which I don't think the agents knew the value of that, right?
Right.
And the only thing they had to do is spend $112 to print it. I'm not an employee. I'm just a new agent there. And I said, I have the skill. I can do it. I interviewed. Only 3 people printed it. I said,
Wow.
really?
They had no idea.
No
No
idea.
idea. Yeah.
But that's okay. That was their no idea. But branding is such an important thing. Now, I don't know what you've done in terms of branding yourself,
Hmm.
other than everyone knows who you are because you're just who you are. But I started with my first listing was a waterfront, so I created waterfrontagent.net because it wasn't even available. The .com wasn't available.
Okay.
2013, the .com became available, and if I didn't buy it, I would lose all the marketing, and so I paid $7,000 for a domain. But a lot of agents could use waterfront agent, and then I
Right.
got riverfront agent, oceanfront agent, lake, whatever. In Michigan, people don't know. I think it's 20% of the world's fresh water in
Correct.
Michigan.
Correct. Yep.
It's a wonderful, and I also tell people there's a river that goes both sides in both
Yep.
directions. The
Yep.
Osage, right?
Correct. It's funny because a lot of my clients are from out west and or Texas and they're second home, third home buyers. And I always ask them, do you have family here? And if they don't, I'm like, what attracted you to Michigan? Why are you here? And they said, oh my gosh, you have fresh water. You have fresh water. You have
A
no
lot.
hurricanes, no mudslides, no, like just, we have snowstorms. They're not here in the winter, so they don't care.
Yeah,
But yeah, I thought
I
that was
learned to
really
ski.
interesting, the fresh water.
So it is interesting because I never would have thought of that in terms
I
of
would have never thought of that
where,
either, but
yeah, New Hampshire. So when I lived in Manhattan, New Hampshire was Cow Hampshire or New Hampshire. I didn't know
okay.
anything about it. And in Manhattan, people go to Vermont. In Boston, people were going to New Hampshire. I'm going, okay, I'll never. And I arrived. Its perception is very interesting. So I figured my first house was a second home because I couldn't afford anything in Manhattan. This is called barking. This is a dog that's twice the size of the kid. Anyway, and so I bought a house in Connecticut, a little Victorian. That was my first house because I needed to have grass. I'm from Michigan. I need grass.
Right,
I need a
right.
fence, and actually a garage would be nice. But so then life changed. I came to New Hampshire, and I first looked at New Hampshire. It was mud season. You don't have mud. So mud season in New Hampshire is when everything starts to thaw because dirt roads, and you'll see this, I'm sure they freeze from the top down, and then they thaw from the top down, which means there could be this much of thaw and the rest is frozen, which means when it starts to melt and when it rains, the water can only go so far. And then you start driving over it, it becomes muddy, and then even more muddy, and then muddy.
Big
And then you
ruts.
have,
Yeah, they have that up in the UP actually, more so
I
than
would
down
think
here.
so. And then frost heaves. Do you have frost heaves where the
Mhm.
roads just go whoop like this
Yeah, they do. And that's why they only allow certain weight trucks,
at a certain
you
time?
know,
So that's the
at a
same.
certain time.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that affects real estate because I looked at this and going, this state must be so poor. The roads are so terrible and whatever. It's actually the wealthiest state per capita in the country. Who knew?
Wow. Wow.
But it is a reality. Just like the mosquito, I believe, is a state bird here.
Okay.
The same size. So,
That's funny.
but these are things that affect. So you and I both deal with out of state. We do a lot of educating about the states.
Correct.
I just started interviewing a lot of people from Michigan, which of course I'm from Michigan, and
Mhm. Where were
um,
you born?
Grand Rapids, and then lived in Bloomfield Hills for most of my life.
Okay. I was
And
born
so
and
Mitt
raised, well,
Romney,
I was born in Royal Oak and raised in Clarkston, Waterford
okay,
area.
yep.
And then I moved
So
to Florida for 12 years.
I could never live in Florida. The state bird there is
The seagull?
well,
No.
okay.
Yeah. No,
That was
it changed. I loved it when I was younger and I swore up and down in my 20s, I'm never moving back to Michigan. And then I had children. And to raise my children down south when you're from the Midwest,
yep.
couldn't do it. So moved back here,
I
been
just think
back
it's too
25
hot.
years.
Michigan is a wonderful state. Now I like being in the old part of New England. I love New England, and of
Oh
course
yeah,
now
it's
in New
beautiful.
Hampshire, we have 4,000 foot mountains. The 4,000 there's a whole hiking thing. Of course, the Appalachian Trail comes through here,
Sure.
and I
Oh, it's
learned to
beautiful.
ski at Mount Holly, which is a landfill. Then I went to Utah
Oh,
to
yeah, wildly
ski
different.
with my no. I went to the film festival there with my
Oh,
wife, who learned to ski in the Alps. And it's okay. I had all I knew is ski snowplow. That was if I skied the way I did in Michigan, I would create an avalanche, and it was during the film festival, and there would be no Hollywood ever again. If
oh my goodness. Yeah,
so, I took a
right.
2 hour lesson, and they gave me these short skis. I said, "Why didn't I grow up with short skis? Because it makes a difference." It used to be you would have to stand up, put your arm up, and that was the size of your ski.
Oh, okay.
It's
I didn't
terrible.
downhill. I never downhilled. I always cross country because my mother was an RN on the orthopedic ward. So I was highly discouraged from skiing downhill.
Yeah, my skiing downhill was a downhill. It was just downhill from the second. Gravitational pull has its pull, and then but
Right.
I had to learn, and I did. And of course, I'm in New Hampshire, and we got unbelievable mountains and lakes, and that's what's appealing. We have
Yeah.
1,300 lakes. I think you have 40,000 lakes, but
Almost 60, it's 64,911 or something like that
oh,
last time
is
I
that
checked.
much?
Almost
64,000?
65,000. I think
Yeah.
there's 11,000 over 5 acres or larger,
How
something
deep are
like
they?
that.
How deep are they?
They vary. They
Yeah.
vary.
But you don't have
Place.
200-foot deep lakes there, do you?
Oh yeah, the bay is like 600 feet deep. So
Yeah.
Lake Michigan and the
Well, Lake
bays, right?
Michigan
So
is, yeah.
yeah, so there's East and West Bay and
Oh, Traverse
600.
Bay, yes.
Yep. So we do have, I think, 600 feet.
Yeah, that's different. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, not inland
Um,
like.
no, yeah. So we have a range here, and that's another education of what makes,
Mhm.
for you, what is the definition of what makes a waterfront a great waterfront?
That's a really great question. But the one thing I always ask my clients is, do you want to walk the beach for miles and rock hunt? Or do you want to have a dock? Do you want to have a boat? Do you need jet skis? What do you want to do with the lake? What lifestyle do you envision? And it really dictates where they should be looking. If they want a dock and a boat and all kinds of water sports, then Lake Michigan isn't really your spot.
No.
If you want to walk it for miles and rock hunt and look for Petoskey stones, then yeah, Lake Michigan's your jam. But it really just depends on what they're looking for. What lifestyle do they want? And it's really interesting because it seems like like a couple of years ago, it was everybody wanted Lake Michigan. I have to have a place on Lake Michigan. I really want Lake Michigan. And then it flip flops. It goes, I want an inland lake. I need to have a boat and I want a dock. And the bay is really interesting because it's best of both worlds. You can get out to the big water real quick. You can still have a dock and a boat.
It's
But
protected.
there's a lot of education that goes into living on the bay, right? So versus an inland lake, people see the beach and they think, oh, that's fabulous. I love it. And they think it's going to look like that forever. Mother Nature and Lake Michigan in particular has a cycle. So
Yes.
about the last, let's see, from it must have been like 2013 through 2022, we had the highest water levels we've ever seen in history on Lake Michigan. It rose 6 feet. So you can imagine a lot of the
That
homes that were,
Yeah.
yeah, it really was very scary for a lot of homes, a lot of riprap going up and shore erosion happening. So people putting measures in place to protect their shorelines. But yeah, so it's a real thing. People don't realize, even along the bay here in the last year or two, we've lost, gosh, the water is way out, is probably 800 feet out from where it was at the high water level. So now folks that had lifts and boats, they're having to put their docks out 600, 800 feet just to get enough depth to put their boats in. And at a certain point, you can't, right? So they don't realize that it's cyclical, and you really have to educate them that this is happening. It's different every year because it's precipitation, it's evaporation, it's all the things that go into it. And you really don't know. But I've been here 25 years and I've lived on East Bay for 25 years. So I would say it's probably every 7 to 10 years you see
Yep.
it go up. You see it come back in. And yeah, it's just
So,
an education for sure.
so my grandparents had a place in Lake Michigan in the wilderness, in Grand Haven.
Oh yeah.
What a wonderful place to start your life and enjoy life. And the thing is, what people also don't realize is that it's all sand dunes in Michigan.
You're
And
right.
that's why there's so much sand. I remember the beach growing up, at least 300 or 400 feet. Nice, sugar sandy, whatever. And then you'd have to rake up the alewives. Remember those
Oh
days?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
We had them a couple of years ago, and everybody's like, "What is happening?" Because we hadn't
Really?
had them for so long.
Oh, I think, didn't they introduce the coho or something?
Yeah,
And for people who don't know, alewives are like these little tiny fish that just wash up their smelt.
yeah,
And for people who don't know what smelt is, it's something you can eat.
yeah, yeah.
And then, so that was I'm facing west to see the sunsets, but this is another conversation I have with people. People think they want a Western exposure.
Right.
So I tell them I have an Eastern exposure. The sunrises in the morning at my house are unfreaking believable.
Aren't they? I personally, I love the sunrise. I've had the sunrise.
Yeah.
I love the sunrise.
But the other thing that happens that I think people, and maybe you see it there as well, depending on the size of the lake, is if you're facing west, which is where the storms come from, your beach might be gone. Now, here it's very rocky. So I have a beach, and across the lake, they have no beach
Okay.
because it's washed away, unless there's a peninsula or on both
Some
sides.
kind of cove protection. Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, you have Lake Winnipesaukee is 44,000 acres. And so you have every kind of weather you could possibly have,
Okay,
200
yeah.
feet deep. And
Huge.
so I tell people, you're telling people the same thing. Do you want a sandy beach? You want to this? And that kind of determines what side of a lake, what lake. And of course, Michigan is it's got a lot of clay, correct?
Correct. Yep. So you've got septic issues, and people from Chicago come up here and it's like, septic? Well, where's the municipal water supply? Yeah, it's not.
We get that too. And paved roads. You don't have a paved road?
Yeah.
You
You're lucky if you get a paved road. Yeah, that's true.
I also
True.
find that people can't get past the first three letters of association.
Yeah, I got
But
you.
roads developments have to start usually with an association because it secures a road maintenance agreement, that kind of stuff.
Correct. Yeah.
Um,
Nobody
but
likes associations. Road
you know,
associations are a little different than an HOA association. At least it's a
well,
road agreement. That doesn't bother people so much. I think they prefer that.
yeah, I think what happened decades ago, they didn't separate a road maintenance agreement from the HOA.
Oh, okay.
And
They do
that's where
now.
you can run into a problem because you got somebody who doesn't pay, they don't want to pay the association fee. I said, but it pays for your road. But if it's separate, you can't argue that as they plow everything onto their driveway.
Yeah.
The and do you have like classifications of the lake? Here we have oligotrophic, eutrophic.
We
Anything?
do. We have basically we just rate them by do you want all sports? Do you want no wake? 9 times out of 10, if you're wanting an inland lake, you want all sports.
Yeah, that's a different.
Different classification. No, we don't really have, we don't have that type of classification.
Okay, so what those things mean in terms of lakes is like the ability for it to grow aquatic things, and oligotrophic is usually the most crystal clear of
Okay.
lakes,
Okay.
very sandy. Sand, of course, is a natural filter. That's how you
Mhm.
have septic systems, things like that. So, and here is very sandy. In fact, all the sand for the Big Dig in Boston. Are you familiar with the Big Dig in Boston?
I've heard of that. Yes.
Okay, so that was a road. They built a tunnel, and all the cement and the concrete, sand was shipped in every day from New Hampshire.
Wow.
They had a train. Of course, I lived in the North End.
Incredible.
And yeah, it was because so it also means that if you're in the southern, even the southern part of the state, the cost of building a septic is astronomical because you have to ship the sand from the
Oh.
middle part of the state. And I would predict, what do they do with the sand? They don't. You're not allowed to touch the dunes anymore. But there's a lot of sand in Michigan.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
There is. There's pockets of clay as well. So you've got to do your due diligence and get your perk tests done and find out what you're dealing with. And then there's multiple types of septics, right? So you've
yes,
got the engineered systems and over excavated systems and the mounded systems and all these different types of
yeah.
systems that,
Pump ups. We love pump ups.
oh yeah, yeah. Nobody loves that.
Again, I moved in January, didn't know what seasonal meant. And in the first week, beyond the fact that my septic froze,
Oh,
I didn't know where it was,
oh no.
only to find I called the guy who's been there for a million years. He goes, I think it's here. And he took a pitchfork, and there it was. It's a 500-gallon tank, but it was only 4 inches below the surface.
Oh no.
So,
What?
of course, it froze.
Yeah.
But it was seasonal and didn't matter to anybody else except Mike Travis. And I had to deal with that and other things. People think they can renovate. Like I decided to buy the Home Depot book on electrical, and that obviously clearly made me an expert. I lost my computer, my TV, my microwave in the first week.
Oh my gosh. Now don't mess with that stuff.
No, no,
Leave
no,
that
no,
to a
no. And
licensed
plumbing, forget
professional,
plumbing.
Michael.
Forget plumbing. But in this business, I've also ended up renovating a lot of things. I know a lot of bad contractors, good contractors, neither of which you can get. It's taken 2 years. I'm still trying to build a garage. I have a whole bunch of cars and no garage. Since I've lived here for 20 years, I've had no garage or basement in any house I've owned.
Oh my gosh.
It's horrible.
Yeah,
So,
that's rough.
and now the cost of the foundation, 2 years ago, I was starting with the foundation just for the garage. It was 9,000 and now it's 23,000.
I believe it. So you're experiencing what we're experiencing up here. So even just versus downstate, where you've
Yes.
got a bigger metro area, the
Detroit, there's a lot of chaos, of course. It affects everything. And like even the bridge that Canada built, somebody wants to close it.
yep.
Does that make sense? Nope, don't think so. But anyway, we don't talk politics. So I always believe that we are. I don't know what they're doing. It's like they're doing something. I'm in the back room. We're always A couple of things I always believe in. Our success depends on each other. You're working with clients, you're working with other agents, and you have to be nice. And
100%. Yeah.
100 million
Treat
percent.
others the way you want to be treated.
That's right. That's correct. And but we are also a combination of our past. Everything we do, all of our experiences, like yours, marketing, design, that kind of stuff, helps you vision, understand branding, understand. The worst thing to do is your elevator speech about who you are, right?
Yeah.
My daughter said to me when she was 10, she said, "What's your USP?" I'm going, "What are you talking about?" So that's why I checked out this book, How to Win Friends and Influence People from Dale Carnegie. I'm going, "What?" And she goes, "Yeah, that's your unique selling position." I'm going,
Proposition, right.
I
Yeah.
said, "Here's the thing. I was a Dale Carnegie instructor." And I
And
forgot.
you're like, what? USP? What
What?
are you
I
talking
said, first of
about?
all, what 10-year-old checks out that book of all books?
That's impressive. Okay.
Yeah, I am impressed. Very proud of my daughter. So said that says something about my whole life.
Do you have just the one daughter or do you have multiple? Do you
I have my one daughter, and then my wife has a son and a daughter. So I became a father again. There's a difference between a new father and an old father.
I love it.
So you
Bonus
know,
family. Yes. Love it.
bonus.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean I'm a bonus father. Who knows? But
Yes, you are. You're a bonus father.
well,
For
I
sure.
don't know.
For sure.
The one thing I will say about Michiganders is there's a good dry sense of humor there.
Oh, yeah. We all have a great sense of, we have to have a great sense of
We
humor.
hit, that's right. There's a lot to be humorous about,
There
or
is.
have to be.
There is. No, and it's just shocking how many people really want to experience this lifestyle. So the lifestyle here, obviously 3 months or I more like 5 months out of the year is unbelievable. You can't find it anywhere else. It's just
Except
magnificent to be here in the summer and the fall. Actually, fall is probably my favorite.
of course, the New England in the fall is unbelievable, and then of course we have maple sugar season and all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
Right
we
now,
have that as
we're
well.
maple sugaring.
I have about 20, no, maybe not 20. I probably have now about 10 sugar maples on my property. I don't
Oh,
tap them, but I see a lot of folks around me tapping them. And I would love to learn. When things slow down and I get to the point where I can hand things off to my daughter, I'll start maybe doing some maple syrup. But
well, it takes a lot of syrup. So my first maple sugar is my mom's cousin had a place in Jaffrey, New Hampshire, and they had a sugar house in the middle of the woods that looked like a illegal still, and maybe it was in the summer, I don't know. But experienced the whole maple sugar thing. And of course, did you know you can make maple syrup from birch trees?
no, from birch trees?
Yep, it takes a lot more. So like in
Wow.
Alaska there's more birch trees, but it takes here there's a lot of birch trees, but by the time it starts after the maple, by the time the maple thing is done, so are the people. They're going, I'm not doing more of that.
Yeah, we're done. We're exhausted.
Right
Yeah.
now,
It's a lot of work. Yeah.
it is a lot
We
of
have
work.
little stands up the street
Yeah,
that do all that, and then they sell these amazing, beautiful little jars of sugar maple syrup,
yeah,
and
and
it's
it's fresh.
amazing. Yeah, that's
It
I
is.
be sure
And
to,
it's worth the
visit.
$15 for a quart, whatever it is.
Yeah, happily pay it.
Yeah. It's the perfect ingredient like bacon. If you have bacon,
Yeah,
it makes every kitchen smell good, and syrup makes everything taste good.
that's right. That's
And
right.
then
We're
you
very
have,
fortunate to have that here.
and of
Yeah,
course, you have the cherry capital of the world.
correct. And now I'm seeing more vineyard than cherries, actually.
Interesting.
We've got a lot of orchards that have flipped to vineyards, and we have over 250 wineries in our state. And we are
That's interesting.
seventh in the nation for wine production, believe it or not.
Really? You know, the
PBS
old
did a fabulous story
story.
on us. Yeah, a couple years ago, about 3 years ago, they came and they did food pairings and they featured three different vineyards. And it was very interesting. We had restaurants involved and we had the wineries, and they paired these, they made it really fun. It was called Wine First on PBS. I think it's still airing. They were going to air it for 3 years, but very interesting. And I know that the the experts, the what are they, sommeliers,
Yeah.
came and they were just blown away by the
Mm.
fact that we can produce the wine that we do in the
Yeah,
state.
it's weather related. And I think the first winery was in New York, called the Brotherhood or something like that. And it was a bunch of monks or somebody that created it. But of course, New York is an older state. And but there's a lot of course, the whole specialized beer and wine
Oh, the
and that
craft breweries and
craft
yeah.
breweries. Yeah.
Hmm.
And so that's big here. But New Hampshire only has 1.3 million people in the entire state.
Oh, wow.
That's once you pass the first exit in Boston, you've already surpassed it.
Yeah.
In Manhattan, of course, if you're one in a million, there's 8 people just like you, which is frightening to some people. Of course, I actually have an identical twin brother in Michigan.
Do you really?
I do.
Wow.
My family, a lot of my, that's where he's still there.
Okay.
And he's not building a house in Grand Rapids, back to where we all started.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Grand Rapids?
I can't remember. He took an old schoolhouse and he's renovated it.
Oh, how fun. I
And
love
now,
that.
he found an antique school bell and it now looks like a schoolhouse. It didn't when he bought it. Look, you wouldn't know it was a schoolhouse. So we are both gluttons for punishment. I bought a house that was a 1930s kit house, and
Wow.
there were 1x2s, and they added a floor above. It was insane, but it's now
Wow.
nice. You
Wow.
know,
I bet. Yeah, but blood, sweat, and tears, right?
a lot of tears, and even a bunch of blood as you're like, I don't know,
Yeah.
hammering and you miss.
Yeah.
So, but all of these things about our states and the fact that it's interesting that your population, a lot of it comes from the West Coast and Texas, which is interesting.
Arizona, California.
How do you market to those places?
Pardon?
Do you market directly into Arizona or they just find you? Do you do any marketing directly in those areas? Or
Only when I have a specific property that I think would be interesting to those folks. So yes, I do. I target those areas for sure.
so here, a lot of people are coming from obviously New York, Boston, because they can drive here. Anything that what used to be, if it was 90 minutes, it was good, but 90 minutes during COVID turned into 3 hours. If it was 3 hours, it was fine.
That's interesting. Yeah. So Cincinnati,
Where I went to,
Chicago, obviously lots of folks come up
yeah,
from there. Yeah. Yep.
I had a
Northport Point,
T-shirt.
actually, and Northport out in Leelanau County, Northport Point, I would say, gosh, a huge, over 50% of that population is probably from Cincinnati. Yep. It was
Interesting.
founded by someone from Cincinnati way back
Oh,
in the
wow.
day, over 100 years ago. So it makes sense.
Yeah. What people don't realize about Cincinnati is the Cincinnati airport is actually in Kentucky.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's true.
I went to Miami of Ohio, so I learned all about
You
that.
know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you would know.
That's like stupid trivia.
Stupid trivia. Everybody should know, right?
It's called significant. It's like it's yes. It's yeah. Yes. Whatever.
No, I think it's cool. Trivia is
Yeah.
great.
Like
So,
what car? Of course, I'm a car guy. Is on the back of the old $10 bills.
ooh,
It's a good one. Of course, you can't find a $10 bill that shows it anymore. It's a
right. I don't know.
1929 Hupmobile,
A
and I
what?
knew a guy, a Hupmobile. I knew a guy that owned 3 of them.
Oh my
You
gosh.
can imagine, like Bloomfield Hills area is all car people. So
Right,
I knew the guy
right.
that had the third. He had the third Buick ever made. It was a 9-passenger. He had Stanley steamers. But I like my car.
Well, if you're from Detroit or you're from that area, of course you're going to be interested in cars. We're the Motor City. Yeah.
But of course, I have a Tesla Miata, which is in a Ford F-250. So I've got something that uses gas, something that uses no gas, and something it doesn't matter how much gas it uses. It's a lot of fun.
I love that. Yeah. You got it all covered.
I do, but except none of them are covered in a garage because I don't
Okay.
have a garage yet. I now have to come
Don't
up with
feel bad.
something.
For one, I don't have a garage either. I have a barn from 1968, or
Oh,
no,
that's
no, earlier, 1868.
oh, yeah.
So
I
one
would
of the
check those
first
beams.
barns built out here,
Oh, that's interesting.
right? And the house was originally a large farmhouse, and it was a part of, I don't know, 70 acre, a huge acre, a lot of acreage. And now it's 3 acres, and it was redone in the 60s into this little modern quad
Yeah.
level, actually. And it's pretty charming, but it's got a lot of history. Abraham Lincoln is actually on my deed way back. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep. They did grants back then.
that's
Isn't that
interesting.
crazy?
That is. So I listed a property. It was a farm, old farm in the 1800s with lots of acreage, and all the acreage is sold to McMansions around it.
Right.
So there's 3 acres left. The farmhouse was a 1980s renovation, so it was horrible inside. It was no
Oh,
longer look like an old inside. It was like Formica and bad carpet and whatever.
uh-huh.
And it still had a barn, but I positioned it as when you could say, a gentleman's farm.
Sure. Yeah.
The New York Times did a story on gentlemen's farms,
I love
and they
it.
contacted me on this little tiny thing, and they showed all these different gentlemen's farms and whatever in different states, different places, and mine was like 300,000. The rest were like 1.2 million, whatever. But the person who bought it was somebody from Boston who wanted to have the Green Acres experience
Okay.
and didn't know
Yeah.
the difference between the 1980s horrible renovations. Plus asbestos. That was a good
Just
one.
thought this is, oh, yeah, the asbestos. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's always fun.
Yeah. But again, there was a website called One Horse Properties.
Okay.
Now, they didn't have one horse, but they could have one horse.
Okay.
And that's where it was discovered. You just never know where
That's so
people come from.
crazy.
Isn't it?
Right? You just don't, yeah. You never know.
But we're now in a business that there's AI generated everything's. On my website, I did you're familiar with Sora?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay, so I've done these crazy little
Aren't
videos of
those a video? You
yeah,
do video?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So I did a whole bunch of them of me riding on the back of a loon and a moose, walking into a moose, into a pond, and ice fishing where 400,000 fish come out of the pole, and me selling an ice house in Lake Winnipesaukee to flamingos.
Oh my gosh.
They're hilarious. And now they want,
Where do you have those, out on YouTube, or what do you?
they're on YouTube. They're also on my website under
Okay.
the fun side of real estate. Now, I'll
Okay.
send you a link. They're really funny.
Okay.
But I also did it from the standpoint of it was me selling Barb and Ken a house, little tiny house, or a lumberjack a tree house. He's got a chainsaw. But I put disclosures, or me dancing with the bear. And I
That's
said,
just moron. Yeah. I love it.
yeah. And so I had fun with it. And a bear, like with all these like salmon jumping in the background, and he's combing my hair. But I had to put a disclaimer that says, this is not a recommended activity.
Oh my gosh.
You
Yeah.
never know, right? Oh, I saw on Mike's website that you could go up to a bear and have him comb your hair. Whatever.
Right. Yeah. No, no, yeah. We do not recommend this in real
I
life.
have one of where I'm building a house. I'm helping a beaver build a beaver house.
Oh, that's fun.
They're very
I
fun.
love humor.
Without it. My
Right.
criteria in life, and yours, I'm sure, was too, and you have, of course, family change and that kind of stuff, was I always wanted to do something that allowed me to use both sides of my brain. That I didn't do the same thing every day, and I dealt with all kinds of people every day.
Perfect. Real
And so
estate.
advertising was perfect, and then real estate became the next perfect.
I really think that's what gave me such an advantage, right? So I've been very fortunate to be in the top 1% since I've started my career, which
Mhm.
doesn't happen, right? It just doesn't happen. So I'm very fortunate in that way.
Mhm.
But I think that having the marketing and advertising background helps me dial in, because I know how to target, I know how to get the product in front of the buyer, right? And I know how to get in front of a seller. So I think that really has helped me tenfold and have that advantage. And I don't have to talk to somebody else to tell them what I need. I know how to do this.
The other thing, having kids means that you know a lot about psychology, which helps.
Yeah.
Because
There's that.
even there's sometimes you're dealing with the same age mentally.
Sometimes.
Yep.
You know, a lot of my buyers and my sellers are very savvy, very savvy today with everything that they can find online, but nothing is going to replace somebody's local knowledge, somebody that is educated in septic systems and wells and all the contacts and the people that you know, somebody that's educated in all the lakes and what, you know,
they mean.
and what they mean and what would be best fit for them. You can't replace that, in my opinion.
My thing is I've sold properties in more different lakes than any agent, so I collect lakes.
Okay, that's cool.
I've had listings 2 hours away just because it was a new lake. And the local agents going, "Who's Mike Travis?"
Yeah, who is Mike Travis? What?
Who would use him? But
that's great.
But I think it is a wonderful type of job. I'm retired because I wake up every day and I'm retired from the day before. I don't know when I can.
But real estate, I just don't even see myself retiring anytime soon because I really, truly love what I do. And it's not like I'm doing 100 transactions a month. I don't do that.
No.
Like we are boutique. We handle a select few, usually 20 to 30 properties a year. And I love that. I love to be able to give my clients the attention that they need. And it's not just this churning of this machine. It's more, you really get to know these folks. And I think relationships are key.
You mentioned something that you actually were blessed with the perfect mentor.
I was.
My mentor has been doing real estate since 1967.
Wow.
Which is as old as the Jeep that's sitting in a heap somewhere I'm trying to restore. But
that's as old as I am because I was born in 67.
So I was born, there's still only 48 stars in the flag, but people start Googling what that means. And I'm the only agent she ever co-listed anything with because I think she saw that I had a little bit of a brain. But
the only agency that co-listed what?
I'm the only agent she ever co-listed any of her listed with.
Oh, okay. Your mentor.
My mentor.
Okay.
So I'm proud of that fact. And
that's very cool.
She started back when women were not in the real estate business.
Right.
But you would not cross her, I'll tell you that much. And but it's a wonderful thing. And the other thing, and I found this even when I was in advertising, what people expect of a mentor, young kids, I think, they start thinking, when am I getting paid? How much am I getting paid? I said, you have to learn what you're doing.
You're going to get paid after you learn how to do what you need to do, right? Yeah,
that's right. That's why we do education. And of course, I'm still doing education. And of course, I had to get a safe serve for my restaurant. I got my liquor license last year, my main license, commercial license, and it all takes training. And I have kids who are in school. So you learn how to learn in school. But that does mean both their mother and me are still in school taking tests, which I hate.
Well, I hate it too. But you know what? We're learning new things every single day.
Every day.
And I was listening to another podcast that actually was very interesting because for the first time in the history of the world, basically, is we're all at that child level with AI, right? Everybody's learning.
Interesting, yeah.
The older generation is learning with the younger generation what this is all about. So I thought that was fascinating. Because usually it's always your older generation teaching the younger generation. Now that it's the younger generation.
But the younger generation still knows more.
They do. Well,
because they know because they're savvy. But no, they know more from a technical standpoint, but that doesn't mean.
Right.
When I was in advertising, I was one of the first to use a Mac. And I did it because it was a tool I knew I would need to know.
Correct.
And then I went into advertising in New York City, and in the company, I was the only one that had a Mac. But then I could produce more, which became a problem. So I was producing 85. The day I left New York, which was because I had a child and needed a break. And I was working on 6 TV commercials, 85 print ads, and moving at the same time, and 3 other accounts. And I had 14
And
active.
how'd that go for you, Michael?
I think that's when DMV could start calling my hair gray.
That's a lot. Yeah, that's crazy.
It was a lot, but it's because I could produce it, but then if you're the one that can produce it, the ones who can't are happy because everything goes, oh, let Mikey do it.
Yeah.
Of course, I had to deal with Mikey. You're right.
Yeah,
old enough to know about life cereal. But it is things. AI is moving so fast, it can be frightening. And when you see my little sorrow videos, it is frightening how good they are.
Isn't it crazy?
When I set up the account, all they asked for is a frontal picture and a picture like this and a picture like this. Not the rest of my body, not my bald spot, whatever. My balding spot, my aerodynamic spot. In the videos,
isn't that crazy?
It is crazy, but it looks like me. I think I had
sounds
a shirt
like
on.
You. Yeah.
It sounds like me, and some don't, but it's still. But it takes 5 minutes, and it's a full-fledged. I don't even do the script. It just creates a script, and then it learns your humor a little bit.
Wow.
And it's scary.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But because I started it in a way of looking at it from the standpoint of marketing, even real estate, I even used it. I showed land. It was like deep in snow. It was 15 acres. It was cold. These people came up. They needed to see the land. We walked the land. So before I met with them, I did an AI video of me with 2 buyers on this particular land with 5.3 acres on Crystal Lake. And we're standing in snow up to here. and there's penguins in the background and a polar bear in the background. And I said, look, I already showed you the property. Here it is. So that's where I could use something with a little bit of humor in it, but it was related to what I do. Because some people do really weird, bizarre. Mine are weird, bizarre, but funny.
Yeah, that's really funny.
But and of course, using AI for creating content, SEOs, all that kind of stuff.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Really helps. I saw an article.
Sure does. I use Claude Teams.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty outstanding.
Oh, yeah, it's Claude. I don't even know that one.
Claude? Yeah.
Claude.
Claude. Yes, and they have a Teams version. So I've been using that, and unbelievable.
Yep.
Really great.
Yeah.
My brother actually audits AI. So he's an auditor. So he has to put in prompts and he has to audit the responses to see if they're correct.
Oh, I see. Yeah, because that's the problem. There can be a lot of incorrect.
There's a lot of errors. Yeah.
But that's been the internet either. If you want to know the truth, everything on the internet is perfectly fine. Just ask Abraham Lincoln. Who's on your deed?
Yeah. Who's on my deed? Yeah. It's just interesting, though. So I did try to do some research with it for CMAs. Wildly wrong. I did this in chat.
Yes.
It was wildly inaccurate, wildly wrong. And I was so disappointed.
But it will learn.
I was so disappointed. I was like, come on. So I think it'll get better, but yeah, no.
Well, but it's like Google got better.
It did.
I remember before I had a navigation thing on my car, I used MapQuest. And I printed out. And then I get a call halfway through, oh, I have to change the showing. I didn't have directions from this to there and back to that.
Yes. You're like, my gosh.
So one time, and then I got the little Garmin.
Oh, yeah.
And I had my first $1 million buyer. It was a $3 million buyer for a house. And I said, oh, just follow me. And we're going from house to house. And I hit a pothole and it reset. And I did this gigantic circle back to the same parking lot.
Really? I know the area.
Really, I'm your guy. And it turned out that was one of many stories because
That's funny.
In the end, they said, well, we have a nickname for you. I said, well, what's the nickname? They said, we'll tell you at the closing, which to me meant, oh, we'll have a closing at some point.
Yeah, you're like, yay.
And
Okay,
so
that's
we're
good.
looking at this land, 15 acres, Lake Winnipesaukee. And there was a rubber dog toy just on the ground. And I picked it up, put it in my pocket. To me, it was garbage. And he gets on his phone, talking to his wife and whatever. We ended up closing and buying this. We, as in not me, the royal we, buy this property. On my way to the closing, I happened to find that rubber dog
toy.
and I used drywall screws and put it on a base, and I wrapped it up. And they kept asking me, what kind of wood do you like? You know, I don't know, mahogany, whatever. I didn't know what they were doing. So we go to the closing and finish, and it says, now we can talk to you about what your nickname was. And their nickname was, what was it? It has to do with a dog.
I am sitting on the edge of my chair. What is your nickname?
It was dog something, because I always came back.
Okay.
And they handed me this hand carved sign thing with a dog with bone. Dog with bone. That's what it was. Dog with bone. And their son had made this custom made like nameplate with a dog on it and a bone in its mouth. And I said, you got to be kidding. So I handed them my present, which was, there were other things, which was a wrapped dog bone that they remember me picking up. It was this radial rubber.
You mounted it to a piece of wood for them?
Put a piece of wood on the way to the closing, wrapped it up.
So you both were on the same page.
So they gave me Dog with Bone. In fact, their kids didn't even know my real name. They only knew me as Dog with Bone. Oh, we're going to meet with Dog with Bone. So then I got a call from a publisher. They were doing a book called A Day in the Life of a Real Estate Agent. And so that became the story.
Okay.
Starting with, they hit a pothole.
That is great.
And you know what the name of the publisher was? Work Like a Dog.
Oh my gosh. We do work like dogs sometimes.
It's true.
Most of the time.
Except we never get the bone, and we don't want the bone sometimes, but that's okay. But I'm glad that you love what you do. I love what you do. I do. And it really is. I think it's helpful for people to know what we do, because I think it's a lot harder. If we were attorneys, we would get paid first, right?
Right.
And not necessarily do anything. Here we have to do everything.
And get paid less. Maybe.
Get paid less.
Maybe. If we're lucky.
And then when you sell something quickly, sometimes I've had sellers say, you should reduce your commission. I'm going, why?
What? Yeah.
Or let's say the offer that came in, or several offers, whatever, it came in 1% less than the asking price, and they want us to take 1% off our commission, which is 25%.
Right.
So you want us to take 25% of our commission off because you lost, or you didn't get the 1%.
I was going to say, they were lucky. 1%. That's nothing.
No, what I say is like, I will reduce the price the same percentage as the difference of the price. So the commission, instead of 1%, is 1% of the commission. Right. So it's $1.50.
$1.50 or something. Yeah. So it's
here's your $1.50.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Anyway, I hear my phone once again. I forgot to turn it off. It's in the bathroom.
That's okay. I don't know if we didn't really cover any of the talking points that we had laid out.
Oh, yeah. Why don't you, because, I don't have them from me. What are some of the top talking points you want to talk about? I think that's important.
I think one of the, shoot.
So you
know what? This is a call that I really probably should get back to, because we're running way over.
Yes, of course.
And I'm so sorry. But yeah, we were just, I don't know. We talked about a lot of different things, but we had talked about, I guess there was just some questions in there about how do I train my staff, and it was just more so about being immersed in the whole process and learning from doing rather than trying to give them videos to watch or something like that. They have to really just dive in and do it. And that's
true. Yeah.
My mentor was brutal. He didn't, he did not hold my hand. He was wonderful, actually. I look back at that and think, that was amazing. That was the way to learn. I had to just do it. He took off, went to Denmark, and said, here's the first deal, write it up, get it done. And fortunately, it was a created sale between neighbors. So it wasn't like there was a lot of negotiation or anything like that. It was just basically paperwork, do it. But I had never written an offer before. So like filling out the form, calling them in Denmark. Is this correct? It was funny, but I learned a lot by doing.
Well, I think in anything you have to learn by experience. And I remember I had a first offer my second day, and I hadn't even been trained yet
Yeah.
on the purchase and sale. And
Right.
it didn't make any sense.
It just
And I
was
had bad
crazy.
reception. So I tried to call. And the person like, who are you?
Right. Yeah. It's okay. I'll figure this out. But yeah. And then,
But there's nothing
showing
like
multi-million
experience.
dollar properties with smart home face interfaces, and they want
The
what is
specs.
a coffee house station on when you're trying to like work this system on the wall, getting the music going throughout the house. And it's just, I had no idea what I was doing, but it was fun. I learned real fast what to do, what not
And
to
you
do.
still learn.
And no,
All
I'm
this.
still learning. Every day I learn something new. And that's why I love this business so much, because
Yep.
it's not boring. It's exciting.
No, it can be, but you're not going to make it boring because
No,
you got to wake
heck
up.
no. It's what you make of it.
That's right. And
So,
that's in anything. Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, it's been a pleasure getting to know you better. And thank you for having me on.
And I learned a lot even more about Michigan and how things are done. There's a lot of similarities, a lot of differences.
Yeah, quite a bit. A lot of similarities, but we just, it has just been nonstop. And we're still pretty heavy seller's market right now, still. Supply
Yep.
and demand. So, we don't have supply.
Yep.
Not a
Yeah,
lot
we
of
don't have
waterfront
inventory.
properties.
There is one thing I'm noticing. New Hampshire's an old state,
Hmm.
meaning older people.
Hmm.
And sometimes a lot of people are hesitant because they have their 1% interest rates on
Oh,
their mortgages.
that's here
Then,
too. Yep.
yeah, then to
Same.
find a
They don't
place.
want to let go. They can't get back in. So I
Right.
also read there's 4.6 trillion that will be assumed by the millennials and the Gen Xers over the next decade in real estate, right? They're going to inherit these properties. And it'll be interesting to see what they do. Hopefully there's trust set up so that the property taxes don't become uncapped, because that would be a real problem for a younger generation to be able to absorb the property
And
taxes here.
that's where we have conversations of capital gains and all kinds of
Mhm.
stuff. That's a valuable. A lot of people have never heard of a 1031 exchange or all kinds of, and there's other kinds of products out there, which we're all learning about.
I do a
Um,
lot of 1031s actually. Yeah.
yeah. And reverse 1031s.
Pardon?
You can do a reverse 1031.
Sure. Yeah, it's crazy the things you can do, and just the way you can structure deals today to make it
Yep.
a little
But you have
bit
to know
friendlier
about it.
on your pocketbook.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I've had people that go, oh, I just was bequeathed this property and they got all this money. And I said, what about the capital gains or what about, and they knew nothing about it and they couldn't buy anything
Uh,
because they didn't know anything. Suddenly they got all this.
they weren't set up properly. Yeah.
And then I got all these stocks, Procter and Gamble stocks from 1960, and the cost basis couldn't be upgraded because it was a trust that had it. And that was a big learning curve.
Sure. Whoops. Yeah.
Ooh. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Yeah. So there's a lot of education that needs to go into
yep.
what we do, and I love learning about it, and I love
Yep.
telling folks about it and educating and letting them know and advising them. And yeah, I don't look at it as a job. I look at it as I'm meeting new friends every day. I'm helping them through. I'm teaching them what they need to look out for and all that. So
For some reason, we can make vendors a lot more money than we make.
yeah, sometimes, right? Yeah, as well. Geez, that surveyor just made a bundle on that
That's
referral
right.
I just gave
Well,
them.
thank you.
But yeah, it's what we do.
That's right.
So anyway,
Well,
I do have to run. I'm
Yep. Well,
sorry, but this has been lovely. And if there's anything else that we need to cover or do, happy to do it.
okay. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of things you absolutely want to make sure that you cover. I can do another one. That's okay.
Okay.
It's a phone call away.
Okay.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much. It was great meeting you.
Thank you too. Appreciate it.
Bye
Good
now.
talking with you. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Thanks for tuning in to the Waterfront Agent Podcast. I'll be back with some more stories, tips, and expert interviews, and hopefully some humor. So make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next episode.